2019 in Sri Lanka during Easter Sunday. Bombings. 3 churches across Sri Lanka. 3 luxury hotels. And smaller explosions at housing complexes and guest houses. All suicide bombers were Islamic fundamentalists, killing pretty close to just random people. Because Islamic fundamentalists are incapable of fighting a war against a random country's culture. So they have to resort to just killing people as if that's going to provide any progress. Further fermenting hatred of their religion and creating more jihadists by having more people hate them. Inserting themselves into a country that can have, and probably has had for a very long time, no animosity between religions. You can just spin the wheel and decide to have any religion do this. The fact that it's a specific religion, and the fact that it's a specific religion that is now truly just infamous for allowing this shit to happen, isn't something that should be censored on the internet or on YouTube. We need to discuss this. That way, we talk to each other. Every Muslim, every Islamic fundamentalist, whatever in the United States, raise your right hand. I swear on Allah, I will do no violence to any other group, as is guaranteed by my religion that I will refuse to give in to the violent behavior that I'm being told to do by truly non-real, non-godly Muslims that scream, kill, name that group, and then put your hand down. And then you tell everyone in your neighborhood, I have taken a vow, don't tell them who told you to say it, that I will never do violence to anyone based on their religion or any other reason, because I wish to have my religion not be treated this way. There is a subsect in your religion that makes you look like a bunch of murdering psychopaths. And you must renounce this. You must state publicly, yes, it isn't my fault, but I'm going to take the blame a little bit and try to make this not happen. And at every point you hear even somebody joking about doing this shit, you turn them in. Make every single country incredibly unfriendly to fundamentalist terrorists of all stripes. Raise your right hand if you're a Christian fundamentalist. I renounce all violence towards any other group based on any reasoning, including politics, and will actively seek to have anybody who does this sort of thing arrested and thrown in prison for the maximum sentence possible because they make my religion look bad. Put your hand back down. You will not excuse or apologize for this. And yes, YouTube will immediately flag this video as hate speech, telling people to renounce violence based on religion. Our governments can't solve this. We have to. We don't have a choice. How do we solve it? Well, in case you haven't noticed, being violent or angry or abusive doesn't do anything. Yelling racial stereotypical shit doesn't fix anything either. And yelling, I'm sorry, but I'm going to invoke this. A while ago, there was a protest in the city of Portland, Oregon, because someone in the city of Portland, Oregon was gunned down by the cops. What was he guilty of? He had a gun while he was a felon and wasn't permitted to have a gun. A long history of being a Crip. And he died. And what did they do? What did the protesters do? Attack random white people who were trying to drive through downtown Portland during one of their unannounced marches. And unironically screaming racial epithets at people. You didn't solve anything and you can't. Black Lives Matter, yes. But deciding anybody else's lives don't matter during your protest proves that you are exactly what you're trying to fight. You have become what you hate. Anytime you get into this self-righteous indignation and violence and hate, you are what you hate. You can't get rid of this fact until you just say, I'm guilty of this, and then stop. No, there isn't any. It really is. Hate saying it, but Trump we get to use the Trumpism, both sides. Both sides have to cease and desist being violent. If you're attacked, react. I understand. But a culture war won't ever end, just like a religious war won't ever end. embracing your religion or another person's religion, or opposing a religion or belief, or opposing people who won't follow a religion. Everything, like, none of this is solving it. It's not solving anything. What are you going to do? Legislate away terrorism? That doesn't work either. The war on terrorism actually kind of sort of works, but it's not working well enough. Every single person who's a devout member of any religion needs to decide they will embrace really tightly, to a smothering extent, every extremist and make them stop being violent so that they don't look bad. How about we do it for that reason? How about you decide that if you're a Christian fundamentalist and you know of somebody in the area who's making noises like they want to redo the Oklahoma City bombing, that you immediately make sure they get arrested and thrown in prison for it? No, you're not a traitor. You're preventing violence. How about every one of you that really believes that whites and blacks need to be separated or whatever, actually understand that these sorts of violent acts won't make you separate and equal. It will make them war. A big, big war. Do you want peace or not? All of you out there who are frustrated with the world and want to lash out, do you think that's going to fucking solve anything? Every Muslim, yes, all Muslims, you must turn in everyone. That means you take the cleric up the street and make sure you record him when he says something that should get him jailed, and have him jailed over and over again. Because a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of times in other countries, that's what's doing it. And if you're a government that has decided to mix church and state, you better pick what side of that church you want to have associated and throw the other one permanently away. Do you want this to stop, or do you want to use this as an expedient tool to cause more strife so you can get another election? Almost 300 people died in one day because a group of people could rig up 6 or 7 people with a bunch of explosives. Suicide bombings. It happened in Sri Lanka. There was a shooting in Christchurch. We're not even allowed to discuss it on YouTube. We're not allowed to discuss this and try to figure out what should we do, if anything. Okay, well, this message of peace and intolerance of violence and terrorism and extremism will be flagged, of course, because that seems to be the best way to do it. Oh, and a lot of countries are now banning VPNs unless you get permission from the government, which makes them worthless. And you're not allowed to visit certain websites, including sites that did not post the video for the Christchurch shooting. They simply mentioned that it existed. That solved anything? Will shooting my channel down for the umpteenth time solve anything? I'm going to repost this also to the other channel that hasn't received the imminent and evil, you're restricted and we're going to shove your nose in it thing. See if anybody cares. No one will care. No thoughts or prayers with anyone from Sri Lanka for their deaths. That's not doing anything either. That's absolving ourselves of the responsibility as human beings to decide that no, we will not tolerate extremism, and we will make sure it is put down. You must suppress this. It isn't equal. It doesn't matter what kind of extremist you are. Yes, Antifa, a lot of your members are assholes. Push them out. Don't do it. Don't attack me on my bike. Don't attack me if I'm on a bus. Don't hit me because I'm white and claim that you're not a racist. And don't scream racist because someone pointed out that a particular religion has a bad group in it that they need to expunge from themselves. And while you claim that only Christians have this problem. Or any other group, Catholics, Protestants, atheists. You don't get that comfort. We're all standing in the same pit of shit. We just like it to smell over in our corner better. I don't know how to fix this, but I do know what we're doing isn't working, and we all have to do something because there's just not enough people that are in charge to do it, and they're idiots. It's your problem and mine. Let's see what we can do to fix this. Let's start with something simple. If you see an extremist, turn them in. Let's see if that works for a while. If it doesn't, we'll try something else. I'm at a loss. Comment below if you've got a